Are you interested in the ketogenic diet? If you are, then that's awesome. There's a lot of research showing that there are a lot of health benefits to a well-formulated ketogenic diet. The problem is that there's a huge difference between the ketogenic diet and simply a low-carb one. And also there's a difference between being in ketosis and being keto adapted. And of course, if you do it wrong, then there are some dangers of keto that may actually be harmful to your health. So you should definitely watch this video before you try the ketogenic diet. Actually, you should watch it when doing any other diet because the same principles apply to everyone. Nutrition is the most important variable for health and longevity. You don't want to just randomly wing it and hope for the best. That's why going on fat diets don't work either. You don't want to just fix the symptoms, being overweight, inflamed, tired or sick. You want to get to the root cause of your suffering, which is ignorance about how things actually work. This is the biggest reason why there's an obesity epidemic in the first place. People are ignorant of how food influences their physiology and what further effect it has on their life. Instead of asking, why am I fat? Why? Instead of that, you should focus on asking, what can I do and what do I need to do in order to be healthy and fit? And the same applies to the ketogenic diet. Before trying it out, you have to educate yourself about it. Because it isn't your regular fad diet. It's one of the most scientific and attention to detail demanding diets out there. If you want to do the ketogenic diet successfully, then you need to get into ketosis and become keto adapted. Both of them are quite similar, but there's still a significant difference. Being in ketosis means that your serum blood ketone levels are above 0.5 millimoles and the liver is shooting out more ketones into the bloodstream. This can happen already as soon as your liver glycogen stores have been depleted. Being keto adapted is your brain adapting to burning ketones and has shifted into using them as the body's primary source of energy. This takes several weeks and months. Having elevated levels of ketones in your blood doesn't mean that you're using them for producing energy. Your liver is just converting fat into ketones and sending them into the bloodstream. This can actually have some dangerous side effects. The body prioritizes burning glucose over fatty acids or ketones. High amounts of glucose and ketones in the blood at the same time can lead to ketoacidosis, which is a life-threatening condition where your blood becomes more acidic. Ketoacidosis occurs because your body doesn't know what to do with ketone bodies. Under normal conditions, it would simply burn it off as energy. However, carbohydrate metabolism causes glycation, which promotes mild oxidative stress and the creation of advanced glycolytic end products or AGEs. That's why you don't want to have high blood sugar levels for too long. Fatty acids have twice the caloric content of carbohydrates, and thus they get burned over a longer period of time. When you eat both carbs and fat together, they attach to each other, which makes the sugar circulate the bloodstream for a lot longer. Blood sugar still rises and the pancreas will release insulin to try and bring it back down to normal. Insulin can't do its job and unlock the cell receptors for glucose to be deposited as glycogen, because there are also fatty acid molecules around. The pancreas will panic and it keeps pumping out more insulin, but it's all useless. Blood sugar stays elevated for longer periods of time than normally, leading to glycation and potential ketoacidosis. Over the course of many meals and years, you'll develop insulin resistance and diabetes.
Ice cream, an apple pie, and diabetes.
That's the biggest reason why there are so many obese people who are also diabetic. They combine high-fat foods with high amounts of carbohydrates. You know, it's your average McDonald's Happy Meal. Salt, sugar, and fat.
Diabetes.
And don't think that it just applies to fast food. Your body doesn't know what you eat. It understands only the macros and the micros. The quality of the nutrients and the ingredients. It's basically like computer code. Based on that, here are some foods you should never combine on any diet. Fatty meats and burger buns. The deadly combo, grains and fat. Potatoes and fatty meats. It's seemingly innocent, but still not ideal. Starches and proteins require conflicting digestive enzymes as well. Fruit with anything. Fruit is fructose that can be metabolized only by the liver, which is why you want to eat it only by itself with no other foods. Grains and fats. Rice, wheat, oatmeal, barley, bread, quinoa, buckwheat and other grains should be consumed with lean proteins and with little to no fat. Whipped cream with sugar. Some unsweetened cream is fine, but if you whip it all up and add it to your desserts, then you're making a deadly mistake. All those crazy coffee drinks with a ton of cream and sugar are also unforgiving. You should remember these points even when you're not doing the ketogenic diet, even if you think that you generally eat healthy. An average person's diet would comprise of maybe 30% protein, 40% carbs and 30% fat, which as you can see isn't ideal. In that case, the ketogenic diet is actually more beneficial because you're eliminating one potential danger, which is too much sugar. But there are other potential dangers to the ketogenic diet. Too much protein. Excessive protein can turn even the juiciest of steaks into cake in your bloodstream. Protein is the only macronutrient that cannot be stored inside the body. It needs to be broken down into amino acids or converted into glucose first. And there's only a certain amount of protein your body needs per day. It depends on your lean body mass, how often you train and at what intensity. In general, you don't need any more than 0.6 to 1.2 grams per pound of lean body mass. Too much meat. Meat is high in protein, but excessive protein also triggers the mTOR pathway. mTOR is the body's main anabolic mechanism that will make your body build new tissue. Although mTOR is needed for gaining muscle, it also promotes aging, cancer and tumor growth. You should limit your meat intake to only one meal a day and not eat any meat at all when you're not working out. Although eggs and fish have also high amounts of protein, they're full of essential fatty acids like omega-3s, DHA and EPA, which are necessary for your brain and overall metabolism. Too much dairy. Dairy is also highly anabolic. It triggers IGF-1, which is another growth hormone. However, you don't want to be anabolic 24/7 because you'll speed up aging and get cancer. On the ketogenic diet, you want to limit heavy cream, cottage cheese and milk consumption. Cheese and raw kefir are okay because of the fermentation process, but you should still keep it low. Too much fat. And yes, you can potentially consume too much fat even on the ketogenic diet. Of course you need to eat fat for energy on keto, but there's only a certain amount your body needs per day. It's not that eating high amounts of fat is bad for you. It's just that if you're not careful about it, you may have some hidden sugars and some blind spots in your diet. People who get elevated levels of triglycerides or cholesterol on keto usually don't have their diet dialed down, and they're simply winging it.
I am the danger.
I'm making it look more dangerous than it actually is.
Danger's my middle name.
As you can see, these mistakes and errors, they can happen on any other diet as well. Keto is actually safer than other ways of eating because you're giving your body the right fuel under the right circumstances. And you're not creating a situation where you go into conflict between two contradicting fuel sources, which is sugar and fat. The problem is that if you have no idea what you're doing, or if you're just consuming whatever, then you're putting your health in danger. That's the biggest mistake of the Atkins diet as well. The Atkins diet eliminates only certain food groups, and you eat the same foods as on keto. However, it doesn't restrict the macronutrient ratios. You can eat as much of the keto foods as you'd like, and that's where people end up eating too much meat, or they just overeat. The macronutrient ratios of a well-formulated ketogenic diet are 5 to 10% carbohydrates, which is 30 to 50 grams net, 15 to 30% protein, which is 0.6 to 1.2 grams per pound of lean body mass, 70 to 80% fat, which comprises the rest of the calories. Of course, you're not gonna get diabetes when you eat 20% carbohydrates and 40% protein.
Diabetes.
If you become severely keto adapted, then you can even eat up to 100 and 150 grams of carbs per day. Which brings us to the entire point of this story. If you want to ever try the ketogenic diet, then you need to first learn about it. I'm not a doctor and I'm not responsible for any potential damage to your health. You're the one who has to take ownership over what you learn, what you eat, and what you do. I have many videos and articles about the ketogenic diet, intermittent fasting, and nutrition in general, so check them out. But other than that, click the like, subscribe, notification bell as well. Thanks for watching. My name is Seem.
Danger's my middle name.
Stay adapted, stay empowered.